Well, the three amigos are together. We haven't been together for a month. A lot has gone on in the mortgage market, real estate market. I think it would be amiss if we didn't talk about the housing crash. What have we got the last month? We got Case Shiller saying that December numbers were up 5.5%, maybe 5.8% year on year. We are down 4.3% peak to trough, which I think is June to December. We got mortgage apps down this week. They were up earlier in the month. Mortgage rates hit a low of 5.99. Now we're, I think, 6.7. We got pending home sales 8% month on month, which shocked everybody. Was expected to be 1.1. Inventory is down. Days on market is up. So, Dion, the housing crash, is it here?
It's almost like real estate is local, and some markets will be down. But if you check out the article on Realtor.com, there are some markets that have really been impacted, and they're really coming down. They are not up as much as they were.
Yeah.
They're currently, Columbus, Ohio is only up 14.7%. Kansas City's only up 17.5%. Louisville 14. Memphis is only up 47.3. St. Paul's only up 12. My area is only up 5.8%. So it was up 24% and then 19%, and now it's only up 5.8%. It's 5.8% increased, but everyone's going to say, look, it's down from 19% growth. It's almost like thinking inflation was 9%. Now inflation's only 6%, so things cost less. That's not how it works.
Think that. That's not how it works, no.
They only cost 6% more. Right.
Yeah. And so by the way, the 6% is on the 9%. It's compounding.
Correct. Right. And this growth is on the 19, which is on the 24. It sucks owning real estate.
Yeah. It's just terrible.
Inflation makes us rich. And every time somebody attacks me in the comments on a Business Insider article like they do Matt, it makes it really hard for me to cry myself to sleep on my lumpy mattress full of cash.
Oh, so good. So good. Go ahead. You want to say
the last thing I want to wrap up with there is the core was up higher than expected. Correct. And I think that means we're looking at another basis point of 25 to 50, somewhere in there. It's going to go up.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't mean mortgage rates are going to go up, but I don't know that they're going to compress much more than they have. So I think rates are going to stay very similar to where they are. So I fall right back on the same strategy. Days on market or longer. We should be watching that. And we should be making offers that make numbers that make sense at numbers for us.
It's almost like we do work. We figure out average. We only do great deals with 30-year fixed rate debt. It's almost like that. Matt, what's going on with the housing crash?
I think there's still hope. I think there's still hope that we will blow something up in the next 6 to 12 months or 18 months. I find all the crash battles completely unwatchable. I think they're horrible. I think that's such noise. I think it's such a bucket of stupid soup, one bucket after another. It's just dumb. It's not going to be a crash for the 10,000th time. Everybody that I talk to, there's literally over $1 trillion of money on the sidelines. That's not changing. There's compression in rents. Oh, rents are down. Rents are down. Yeah. What rents are down? The ones in the brand new building down the street that was 40% over market. Yeah. Shockingly, that number's down. I could have told you that was going to happen a year ago, but you know what? I'm still renting stuff out in December. I'm renting stuff out in January. I'm renting stuff out in February. I'm still renting units. And my prices have not gone down. They have not gone down at all. They've all gone up. And so we've done binder strategy. We've done, hey, we're just going to toss you out now because we're kind of tired of your attitude. And so we've kind of done that across the board. And so, no crash. What a big surprise. I will take a victory lap that median home prices have actually gone down.
I was going to bring that up.
Yep. $300. It's still down. It's still down. So 400 and whatever it was, 98,000 to 497,700. Woo! Now I got 10% more to go.
Yeah, you got a while.
Hey, Mike, have you heard how I'm calling for prices to go up 10%? Matt's calling for them to go down 10%, and we're both going to be right. Have you heard us articulate that?
I missed that. Sorry.
So Matt probably could explain this better. I'm going to try. Let me know
It's
if I
okay.
butcher this.
Go for it.
So luxury, the high cost of living houses are going to be impacted the most by anything like a
And
recession. They're going to come down a large percentage.
we agree.
The homes that most people are buying, Class C, Class B, the $400,000 duplex, $300,000 single home, are going to go up.
I agree.
But the decrease in the luxury is going to be so much that median, because people forget how median works, is going to come down, even though the properties that we're buying as rentals in my Class C areas are going to cost us more than last year. So yes, Matt's going to see that decrease in medium. I'm going to see an increase in the properties I'm looking at.
Yes.
I see I broke Mike's brain.
So Mike,
No,
here's how it
so
works in
it's-
Vegas. Do you want me to share? So
Yeah,
my
go ahead.
Vegas search, right? So my Vegas
go
search with Lebo. So I looked at, and admittedly, way out of my price range, $2 million homes. Nah, way out of my price range. However, I have a search up to 2 million. I'm seeing massive price reductions, 2 million down to 1.5 and 1.25 and 1.2 and things like that. Right. But we all know that that doesn't calculate as a sale until it's sold. So
Right.
while I'm seeing these massive price reductions, the biggest reduction I'm seeing is that they went from a 90-day period of about 580,000 homes over 1.5 selling to only 390,000 homes selling
Correct.
over that same period of time.
Mhm.
So that's all I believe is going to happen. I believe that, like Dion and I have been talking about, like we've done a few videos this last month about, is I think that the low priced homes are going to continue to climb. I think mid-tier stays about the same. I just think that the move-up buyer is a vastly short number of transactions, and luxury basically disappears. Like
No, I
luxury
agree.
is going to be off 50, 60%. And so then when you're picking median, most of your transactions are going to be in that, right around median price minus, I think.
Yeah, you know what? So I see both arguments, and frankly,
Sure.
we've individually, I know exactly where you are at, but I want to push back on you a little bit, Matt.
Go ahead.
It's specifically about Vegas, but it plays everywhere.
Sure.
And it's actually Brian Lebo and I have had this conversation about
Sure.
Vegas, because he's the guy a year ago when he showed me his bands of spending, where the pain was. And at the time it was 750 to 1.5, right?
Sure.
If you know Brian, he has these bands.
Absolutely.
And he was like, this is, inventory is growing. That's where the pain is.
Sure.
And I asked him, I said, where are all the new homes? And he's like, right there. And if you know Vegas, median is about 450.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So I get your logic, but I think you're going to be shocked. Because I think what's going to happen is the 800 to 1.5, they're going to have huge haircuts, which will spark demand.
Still demand. Yeah, sure.
And again, I think you could see a 30% price cut, but that will be enough to spark demand, because what we're not getting is the supply of the first-time homebuyer home.
Absolutely.
That affordable shit ain't showing up. So again, demand
in
goes
Vegas.
Up.
In Vegas, it's not showing up, because here's where I think it's showing up. The top 5 cities that Dion listed off in appreciation.
Yeah,
everybody's going to those cities where you can get a decent, like Memphis, dude. Memphis.
Yeah,
apologies to people in Memphis, but you know what Memphis is.
Yeah.
Memphis is mostly Class D. A lot of Class D is Memphis. Very low dollar per door. And so that's where people are now splitting, and they're dropping and so I don't disagree with you, because let's face it, if it's $1 million and the home builders take a haircut to 700, that still moves up the median.
Exactly. It sells.
Right? Totally agree with you. I just think what's really happening though, is a lot of those transactions are going to disappear. I still believe that a lot of them will disappear. And I think that a majority of the transactions, a vast majority, are going to happen median minus, because they're going into these national numbers in these local markets
that
are going to really drive. That's what I think is going to actually happen.
That is actually interesting, because again, median is a national number. And I think
last
time I saw median, let's just call it 380 grand.
Yeah.
So basically, if you have migration, whether that's physical migration or migration of investable capital,
correct.
If you're taking that capital out of San Jose, out of Austin, out of San Diego, out of Miami, which are higher, and then you move them to, again, I don't know Memphis, but sounds like Memphis, sounds like Huntsville, sounds like Nashville.
Yes.
That's interesting.
That's what I see
Because again,
happening.
you basically get investors to overpay, kind of like
Correct.
Dion's point, the affordable home goes
Correct.
up.
Correct.
That's interesting.
So talk to Lebo. So I hadn't talked to him about this yet, but this was one of the things from watching your videos, watching Lebo, talking to Lebo because he's my agent and kind of watching things generally speaking, even where we are. People are now buying the circle of death 2 circles out. And they're doing that because they're like, you know what? Can't afford anything there. The return isn't really that great. So I'm going to buy the cheap stuff because I still need to be buying something. And now what they're doing, instead of just getting further away from the metropolises, what they're actually doing is they're looking for these really cheap markets. Memphis, like the stuff, the amount of money that some of that stuff trades for, it's like the world is becoming Gary, Indiana. And that's the places that people are looking for. They're looking for 3-bed, 1-bath where they can buy a home for $87,000. And
they think $87,000 because it's $87,000 is easy money.
Correct.
Interesting. And
That's
we
what
all
I'm-
know you can go broke buying cheap.
You can go broke buying cheap, but when you look at some of the returns, right? You buy something for 85 or 100 and the rent is still $1,200.
Yeah, I mean, on
Like,
paper
if-
it looks great, but
On paper, it looks fantastic. Now, the question is it a good enough area? Can you collect? Do you have a good enough team? Are you property management insourcing? All the other lovely stories that might be told. But that's where I think the market's actually shifting is I think that a lot of these people, you know, Phoenix isn't off the charts in transactions. Las Vegas isn't off the charts in transactions. In fact, I've watched a bunch of stuff in Vegas when rates went into the 5s. I saw a bunch of stuff that was kind of tracking for me sell. It
yeah,
sold.
I talked, Lebo and I talked. Yeah.
Yeah. So it sold. And so he had like, I think he had inventory like 6 or 7 homes, boom, all gone. As soon as rates got into 5. So big surprise. It's rate sensitive.
Yeah.
But the other big thing too is that people aren't putting in the money on these other, you know, items and on these other portfolios where they're saying, yeah, you know, the cap rate's really compressed. Dude, the cap rate is not compressed in places like Huntsville or Memphis, or it's not compressed there. And
Yeah,
it's the California Las Vegas effect.
Yeah.
Like-
So it's really interesting because I've seen that throughout my 20 years. And again, I live in the Silicon Valley, which goes through lots of liquidity events.
Sure.
And I've seen hundreds, maybe thousands
Mhm.
of people go, I'm going to buy here because it's less than the cost of my, this is a conversation I've had repeatedly. I'm going to
Sure.
buy that house because it costs less than my Tesla.
Sure.
I'm like, why the fuck does that make it a good deal?
Right.
What the hell are you telling me? I mean, that's just stupid reasoning.
We've seen it. So I had reps that were in just outside of St. Louis, Missouri. And when I would make $125,000 in Boston, and it was equivalent to them making $400,000 35 minutes outside of St. Louis, Missouri. So then if those are the numbers and it's that drastically apart, if as an investor, you'd be an idiot to invest where I was, where 125 was 125, but where they were, it meant $400,000, because that meant that the rents would have to literally be, or the cost would have to be 3x. The
Right.
costs aren't 3x. They're not 3x on anything. They're not 3x on the car. They're not 3x on the groceries. They're, you know, none of those things are 3x. So that's where I think people are going, is I think they're going to these tertiary markets that are not top 20 or even top 50 cities. They're
Right.
like top, 100 to 200 cities. They're going there. That's where they're going. And that's where they're making those investments. And that's where the Gary, Indianas are going to get back on the map, because people will drive. So Gary, Indiana is like a 40 to 45 minute drive to Chicago.
Yeah. I don't know why. Yeah. And again, the tax structure is different.
Why on
It's gonna
God's green earth would you live in Chicago? I would drive
Yes.
45 minutes every single day, and I would have the biggest house in Gary that probably cost me $250,000.
Exactly.
That's where I
So
think people are going to happen.
So Dion, I think you're right. I think you both could be right. I think the stuff that you're looking at could go up 10%. And Matt, with his logic, assuming he's right with investing capital migrating, which it's an assumption, but at least I see the logic. He might be. You're right. You both could be right.
Well, what
And-
else
and-
makes a market go up 49%? Dion, like Memphis, like what would
Money
make
and
Memphis?
remote work.
Right.
Yeah.
That's it.
Remote work. Yeah.
Right. So for the crash bros that want to talk about, if Matt's right, median price is coming down. Median is national.
Correct.
Are you investing national?
Yep.
Are you Meet Kevin taking in tens of millions of dollars to deploy nationally? That's the one person who might care about what's going on
Yeah.
nationally.
Maybe.
The rest of us, Where do you live? Where do you invest? What's going on there? That's what matters.
Now, the other thing that's really interesting, because again, I get heat a lot because I'm the idiot that says no crash is coming and have been calling it for a while. So I get lots of extra heat. A lot of these crash bros now are coming around, or their viewers are going, okay, Mike, I get what you're saying now. But they talk to first time home buyers and you talk to investors. I'm like, okay, well, great. If they're a crash bro and they're talking to first time home buyers, why the fuck does median price matter? An entry level home is 75% of median price. And oh, by the way, new homes are not coming out at that price point. They're hurting you, and you guys don't even know it. It's crazy.
Telling people not to buy, and then they go and buy.
Yeah, exactly. They're taking their YouTube money and buying a home. I think that is capitalism at its best. Give them what they want, be an entertainer, and buy your big old house because you're an entertainer. That's what Mimsy Hammer did. So good for them. Matt, bring us home. Where can they find you?
Lumberjack Landlord on YouTube and on Instagram. And for more controversial thoughts, check us out on the live stream where I'm sure to offend.
There you go. And Dion?
You can find me right here on YouTube, Dion Talk Financial Freedom.
Awesome.